I want to play it again, Rob. Hit play again.
I'm sorry,
play it again.
Everyone.
Play it again.
Don't touch me there. This is my no-no swear. Stop. Don't touch me there. This is my no-no swear.
I missed it.
Stop. Don't touch me there. This is my no-no swear.
I love how we go from our serious intro where we basically call everyone who knows
I was just thinking that. I was just thinking that, like, oh, stop. Don't touch me there. So you guys never saw that video, huh?
No.
No, I'm thankful I didn't. But it's stuck in my head now.
Did you see it due to a mandatory like workplace sexual harassment?
That is
training?
a video. That is a video in Finland because there are so many assaults on women from the migrants coming in. They think that video is going to tell the migrants, no, guys, this isn't like where you come from. Stop, don't touch me there. This is my no-no square.
Hold on. Finnish people who speak Finnish show a video in English to sub-Saharan Africans?
I guess so. That's where that video is from. I think we should play it again. I want this song stuck in everyone's head for the rest of the night.
Stop. Don't touch me there. This is my no-no swear.
Liberals, dude. Cringe.
Who are you? Who do you think you are?
That was more appropriate. That's what you need to play to the migrants. That'll stop.
Oh, we all gotta go to confession after this show. It's so bad. Oh my goodness.
Man.
All right, we have a lot of promotion stuff to do.
Oh, we're actually going to be serious tonight.
Yeah, we do have stuff we're going to get to. This show's falling apart at the seams already.
Right away. It fell apart about as fast as Biden did.
Oh, we have Biden clips too. Wait, play the clip of Biden. The let me see which one is it. Where he just put there's two of them. I put two short clips in there.
Yeah,
this is from his press conference going on right now.
Yeah.
He calls Trump his VP.
Do you want I'll just play them both.
Yeah, they're pretty short.
Okay.
Look, I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president, but I think she was not qualified to be president. So let's start.
And then the other one is it's just him trailing off.
Okay, hold on. Here, hold on. There we go.
Following. Look, folks, this is well, anyway.
I love when he does that. Look, folks,
joke,
this is well, anyway, he just loses train of thought and he's just done. And that's the crazy thing. They actually did give him some good, like he's doing much better than he did in the debate. Some guy just asked him like a double header question and he remembered the first question. I couldn't believe. I know that's what they were going for. They're like, I'm gonna ask him a double question because he won't remember the first question. But yeah, it's messy and it's so funny because watching how they covered for him for the past 4 years, it's almost like watching the press how they handled Trump. They're doing that to Biden. It's crazy.
Yeah, I read this piece today talking about the Democrat senator yesterday who basically bailed ship and told Biden that he needs to drop out. I was reading it on CNN and I could not believe some of the language. They're just like, and this wasn't an opinion piece. It was Biden's campaign falling apart at the seams, threatening to crash into the ground. And I'm just sitting there thinking, this sounds like a 2019 anti-Trump article. But you just
you know what's crazy though? So Trump. Okay, so the media itself, once they decide somebody's got to go, like they get infuriated if they don't get their way. Like think about what they did with Andrew Cuomo in New York. That guy was the hero of the pandemic, and then they just turned on him, and they just kept hammering down until the guy finally went, "All right, fine, uncle."
Mm-hmm.
Trump is the only person that the news did that to. That he just went, "I don't care. Like, I don't care what you find on me. I'm staying in it. There's no chance Biden can withstand what they're going to do to him. So I'm curious why he didn't just gracefully bow out and kind of leave on a high note and say, look, step down with some kind of a good story to step down on. He could have pardoned his son, walked out with the guy's falling apart. He can't handle this. And with the news coming down and waiting for it, like they're hanging on every single thing he says, waiting for him to make the slightest mistake now, which they never did before. They used to cover everything. They would edit stuff for him, and they would never do live questions. They always gave him, he had the questions beforehand, things like that. So I don't know what's going on.
I think it's just ego for Biden. Like, that's why he's staying in. Because, I mean, think about it. Do you want to be remembered as the old daughter who couldn't, get his crap together? And he had to be removed from office.
I think the guy wants to step down and retire and go to sleep. There's no way. This is all Jill.
I don't know, dude. I think ego is a powerful thing. I think Jill has a factor to play in it, but I think he's just a prideful man, prideful old dude.
All right. Let's do some promo. We'll get off politics. Our audience hates politics. Like, they legit hate politics.
Do you think they love promo more than politics?
Well, we have to do promo. Like, we used to never do this, but we actually have to. Guys, go to our store, merch store. We got good stuff in the merch store. That's a quick one. Hit like, subscribe. That's a quick one. The Italy trip. Rob, just throw the poster up real quick. Tickets are going to sell out on this. Like, this is going to be one of those things that it does sell out. You guys should, if you have any interest in it, reach out to
hold on, I have
the email address on there.
I have it right here.
There you go. Allie on the way at gmail.com if you guys are interested in going. Then also Catholic Palooza on July 27th. I will be there. Enoch will be there. Thursday from Pints with Aquinas will be there. Ryan Katsu Rivera from censored.tv will be there. If you guys do buy tickets, use code AB27 when you buy them. And that's it. That's our promo run. So we're quicker than any other show. It's the best we can do.
And locals. Our local subscriber number went down a little.
Yeah, man. What did we bore them on the last one?
No, I think it's just people who signed up last year who didn't renew yet.
We're going to get to the SSPX story that we didn't get to last time because we got sidetracked with the synod document in the last episode. So we never got to the SSPX story. So I think that's what we'll do in locals, unless something else comes up during the show that we decide to do a tangent on. But what do you guys think we should? What do you guys think we should start with? Should we play around with more videos, or?
I say we start with the what's it called, the bear story, because that one's just like off the wall.
Yeah, you know what's sad? It's like you can't help but laugh at this, but it's so sick.
Yeah, it's so weird.
I do think we should probably just cover the headline for anyone who actually came here for the headline.
That's gonna be the main story. You think we should do the main story first?
I don't know. It doesn't matter to me.
All right, we'll do the main story first. That's what we'll do. We won't bury the lead. I like to bury the lead a little bit. Rob's a little more professional than me. But yeah, the New York Times. I guess we'll go with that, right? Is that okay with everybody?
Sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
The New York.
We're not, because
paywall.
Let me see it.
Paywall.
So I can't show the article.
Okay, I guess I'm getting the paywall. Let me see.
I can't complain about paywalls much anymore since we put some of our own stuff kind of behind it almost.
I know, right?
Exactly. Those days are done.
I'm paying $1 for the New York Times for you guys.
Oh man, bro, that's rough.
Oh man. Oh no, you can continue without subscribing. Oh, okay,
I can't. I probably have read too many articles.
Okay, here we go. Okay.
So you read.
America's new Catholic priest, young, confident, and conservative. In an era of deep divisions in the church, newly ordained priests overwhelmingly lean right in their theology, practices, and politics. Sorry, guys. On a sunny afternoon in May, Zachary Galante was sitting in a conference room at St. Francis de Sales Seminary with several other young men talking about what it meant for them to choose the Catholic priesthood in the year 2024. The next morning, they would make lifelong promises of celibacy and obedience, and they were palpably elated by the prospect. It's a beautiful life, Deacon Galante, soon to become Father Galante, said. There was a time where the church maybe apologized for being Catholic, he said later in the conversation. He and other new priests agreed they were called to something different, advancing the Catholic faith, even the parts that could seem out of place in an increasingly hostile world. The church is Catholic, and so we should announce that joyfully, he said. In an era of deep divisions in the American church and ongoing pain over continuing revelations of abuse by priests over decades, there is an increasing unity among the men joining the priesthood. They are overwhelmingly conservative in their theology, their liturgical taste, and their politics. Priests ordained since 2010 are clearly the most conservative cohort of priests we've seen in a long time, said Brad Vermeulen, an assistant professor of sociology at the University of St. Thomas in Houston, who has studied the rightward shift of the American priesthood. Surveys tracking the opinions of priests have found that starting in the 1980s, each new wave of priests in the U.S. is noticeably more conservative than the one before it. So, yeah, like if you go from the 80s, I would think, right? Because you had the crazy flamboyant 60s. Now,
yeah, I mean, the priests ordained in the 60s, like, there's good sources that say half of them were gay.
I almost think that number is probably close to that now.
Maybe of those being ordained now?
Oh, no, I would just think that are all right. I would say like 50% of the priesthood is, right.
Well, and that's just because half of the priesthood, half of the boomer priests were gay.
So I think I think I was talking about it the other day, just about just that, and when we say boomer, guys, if you're a boomer, don't take offense to it. It's literally just talking about like every time we say this, like every boomer's like, I'm a boomer, don't blame me. It's like, guys, calm down. We're talking about the liberal boomers, like that's who we mean when we talk about boomers. We're not talking about the few of you who managed to get through that mess without succumbing.
Unfortunately, most of the conservative boomers are liberal boomers too. But anyways,
Rob, you're not making this easy. Every time we do this, the comments just hammer us. But I was discussing something about how the boomer generation is on its way out. Like all this stuff you see with France is like, this is like the last gasps of a dying generation. And they're just with traditionis custodes. All this stuff is just one last attempt for them to just try and drive home the revolution.
Who are you? Who do you think you are? That you're just too good for Jesus.
She is my new obsession. I literally watch every single video that comes out. She does like 3 or 4 videos a day. I watch every one of them. I love her.
Every one of them.
She's like Bizarro Anthony without me to control her.
Maybe. I don't know. No, I don't know. I just think she's nutty, but I think she's very entertaining, man. She just entertains me. I don't know. Like her and watching Biden are my 2 favorite train wrecks. So it's like when you see a car crash, like you can't help but look, right? You have to look at the car crash. Turn the volume down. So, all right. So I was saying how this generation is on its way out, and Taylor said, don't get too excited. There are plenty of modernist same-sex attracted young priests in their 30s waiting to come up in the wings. Like that, like we're not through this mess, and we're not one generation away from it. There's still plenty of mess to deal with, but this is a good thing still, right? Like what this article is saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. It's good overall. The issue, I agree with Taylor, though. There's not just a bunch of homosexuals in the wings, but also I think that it's easy for us to
this video is not getting monetized.
There's exactly.
That's why you say SSA, things like that. Yeah, as soon as you say, you got to actually follow Anthony Stein's lead. Like that's why
I rarely watch Anthony Stein, so that's my issue probably.
Yeah, he is the master of coded language on YouTube, and he says like those stupid little words you think don't do anything, they actually do mess with the algorithm.
Oh, I'm sure. Okay, I will censor my speech.
It's too late. Just say it.
Anyway, but so there's plenty, right, of deviant individuals that are in the wings, right? Deviant individuals, and not just right when it comes to issues against the 6th and 9th commandments, but also doctrinally. But also, I think one thing we have to take into this whole account is, what are the seminarians like in other countries? Because in the American context, right, we focus so much on that, and the news talks about like the conservative Catholic Church in America, etc. But what about the other world, if you will? Like what else are we going to get? Africa, we already kind of know about to a degree, but what about the Asian hemisphere, etc.? So what about the South American hemisphere with Germany, exactly.
Well, we
all the
know the
liberation
only
theology.
seminarians in Germany are probably traditional seminarians.
Yeah, they're all at Zeiskaufen with the society. So that's kind of my concern. Plus, my secondary concern is for a lot of these individuals, I'm curious, whenever they do hit the realms of power, is that when we're actually going to start to sit down and have like true doctrinal cleanup? Because what I would hate to see, and we've talked about it before, is a generation of essentially just rats and Garians show
Yeah.
up and just kind of keep a conservative status quo and nothing actually get done. I'm hopeful though, right? Because you never know.
Well, what's funny is it's not just the priests that are leaning more conservative. Gen Z is actually more conservative, right? I think the
Gen Z is split.
it is
Like
split.
Yeah,
you do have
down
a
the
lot
gender.
that are more conservative, but then the other part is way more the opposite. Like
It's down the gender because the Gen Z males overwhelmingly are not even like yesteryear's conservatives, but like true die in the wool.
like
Let's get back to
reactionary
reactionary conservatives. And then the women are full blown commie, fourth wave feminists, etc. And that's partially why the dating scene has just absolutely deteriorated. It's gotten so bad.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I think it's because especially young women are very susceptible to propaganda.
Yeah.
Like they just are, right? So even when you look at wives, like you could have a liberal woman, if she marries a conservative guy, she'll change her views a little bit to follow her husband. Like women tend to follow their husband. They are more susceptible to that propaganda, which I think is part of the reason the left wants to do away with marriage so much, because they know women tend to follow their husband's lead. And that's an interesting thing to think about. But even still, Nick, like I think the divide, I know what you're saying with the status quo of the reform of the reform crowd or something. I don't think that'll be possible. I think the divide, because exactly what we're talking about, right? So the women are like leftist communists and the guys on the right are reactionary conservatives. I think it's going to happen that way in the church also.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. My issue is that I've just ran into so many ex-seminarians who they'll talk about how the guys who went in, who are all gun-ho about, let's change the church, let's, reform it, if you will, how within a few years, they're all just status quo yes men. And so that's why I'll talk about, I made an episode about this maybe like 3 or 4 months ago, but all the guys who go in saying, I'm going to bring like the TLM to the diocesan world in 7 years, they're working with the parish council, giving communion on female.
Technically, I am a millennial, but what they
but
actually
spiritually, he's a boomer.
They're coming out with like a new term for those born between 80 and 90, and it's like, I don't know if it's a zillennial or like they're coming up with all these,
like Gen X.
Gen X is before 81.
481. And you're what year? You said
I'm 82, so I'm really like the first millennial, and
okay.
But they're saying those born between 80 and 90, they're the last of the analog generation. So it's like I grew up, I had VCR tapes and cassette tapes and stuff, but very young age, like 1990 is when CDs came out. So I was still a young kid when the digital age comes about, like Rob, you probably remember VCR tapes, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What
VCRs, cassettes?
87?
88.
88?
So, yeah, I mean, we used cassettes for a long time, VCRs. We got a DVD player when I was 9, 10, like
so
1997 or something.
So true.
Yeah. So, I think that divide is going to just accelerate in both directions. So, his and his colleagues' analysis found newer priests were significantly more conservative than their elders on questions including whether same-sex behavior is always a sin and whether women should be able to serve as deacons and priests, for example. Okay, so that right there, part of me thinks like the status quo conservative, if they just hear somebody's like doctrinally orthodox on that question, they're like, all right, he's a good guy. Exactly. That's with the life issue too, right? That's why some of the bishops of the past could be the most deviant scoundrels, but they would pay lip service to the pro-life movement. And people would be like, oh, he's good. He's a good guy. Because
it's how Bernardine got away with it. He created the whole seamless garment thing.
What's the other guy from Washington that took over after McCarrick in D.C.?
Starts with the W.
Oh, the current
Whirl.
The current one?
Whirl. Whirl
World.
before
Like all those
Gregory.
guys. Yeah, all those guys would just pay lip service to the pro-life movement, and people would think they were like these conservative bishops, you know, because there were the liberal ones who would talk about the seamless garment. As long as those guys didn't mention the seamless garment, they said something gave some lip service to pro-life, people would go nuts for them and be like, oh, they're a good guy. I remember with Dolan, it was like that. And then Dolan, all of them, man, you just saw the masks drop when Francis came out, and like Dolan gave that interview. It's like, well, Francis has been very clear. He wants the culture wars to be over with. And then he did the other thing with, I say good for you with the gay football player. Like,
Yeah.
Let's see.
It kind of goes back to, like, we've talked about it before, but when we, like last episode, we talked about the Republican Party and the Overton window continuing to shift. That's kind of how I see the problem in the church, in the sense that we've moved so far away in so many critical areas, whether that's like ecumenism or religious liberty, etc., from the deposit of faith, that now we're basically just being like, oh yeah, if you don't believe that essentially the unborn should not be,
Yeah.
that
A
I'm just
VHS
trying
of
to-
Cool Runnings. That's awesome.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but how do you play it?
Exactly.
I'd
It's like,
find a way.
it's like, as long as they're at least sound on just a few moral issues, then it's okay. But it's just so rough. And so that's my problem, is that Catholicism is not an Overton window. It's a deposit of faith that you accept or
Yeah.
reject.
Yeah, I wonder if
Mhm.
we'll get there, man. More than 80% of priests ordained since 2020 describe themselves as theologically conservative, orthodox, or very conservative orthodox, according to a nationally representative survey of 3,500 priests published by the Catholic Project at the Catholic University of America. Foreign-born priests in the U.S., a significant presence as ordination rates remain below replacement levels, are less conservative theologically than
Yeah.
their American-born peers. Wow.
That's what I was thinking, because I've seen so many. So I live in the Diocese of Austin, and we have so many priests now who are from India or Africa or China.
And
or
you're
something
saying
like that.
those priests are more liberal?
Oh yeah, no, I found a lot more. There's a few Africans that I've met who they're not the case, but almost everybody else, very, very liberal.
Yeah,
Very, very
Indian priests tend to be pretty liberal.
Yeah.
Really? Oh man.
That's kind of what I was saying. Like, it might be like cool because in our American context, the reason I think partially we're so conservative is because we've had an insane leftist movement politically in the United States. So men have gone in our reactionary tendency to the church looking for answers. And so therefore, kind of as a, byproduct, the seminarians are all, quote, conservative. But the issue is, it's like, okay, well, what happens when this culture war kind of either A, dies down or goes in a different direction or what have you? Are there going to still be conservative, young guys, or is it going to go to the other route? You know what I'm saying?
No,
That's
I
the
think
issue.
the trend will continue. I think, all right. So I think the Francis effect has been a lot of guys who might have had a vocation are afraid to dip their toes into seminary waters because they don't know what they're getting themselves into. So I think
Yeah.
you'll see the society seminaries explode. Maybe the priestly fraternity seminaries will do well, but I think your average diocesan seminary, I think anybody who does have a vocation to the priesthood right now has to be like what would I do if my son told me he had a vocation? I'd be terrified. I wouldn't know I don't know what I would do. I'd be really afraid. I would be afraid about where he went. I don't know if I'd trust the diocesan route. I think I'd probably push him toward the society. I think. I don't know. I mean, what else do you do?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like you guys asked His Excellency Bishop Schneider a few months ago. You said, like, where should you recommend people go to seminary? And he's like, send them to traditional seminaries.
Yeah.
Which,
But what traditional seminaries besides the society? Are there other traditional seminaries?
yeah, I mean, the only ones that I know of are the society, which again, they have 6 around the world. So it's not just here in the US. Then the fraternity has 2. The Institute, I think, just has 1. And then, of course, the religious orders have kind of in-house seminaries, different traditional orders. So there's not a whole lot of options, unfortunately. It's rough out there.
So, no, of course I want my son to discern. I'm telling you that if he comes out of that discernment and tells me he has a vocation, I'm going to be worried. I don't know. It's a scary thought. I'm just,
It's not that you're not excited at the prospect.
No,
it's just like
of
the
course.
practical getting there that's the worst.
Exactly, yeah.
Mhm. I'm Anthony's spokesperson.
Politically, the trend is similar with almost all priests ordained. Well, no, it's not just that though. I have friends like Nick, Joshua Charles, Joe Boca. These are all single guys who talk to me about, hey, you know, I'm discerning. I don't know. Do you think I'd make a good? Nick hasn't asked me this, but guys that I know, they're like, hey, what do you think about? How do you think I would be as a priest? You know, I'm trying to discern what. And their biggest thing is, it's not necessarily that I don't think I have a vocation. It's I wonder and worry where I would go. Like that's generally the main worry I find most of the single guys I know. That's their concern.
Yeah, that's the same thing I get to. I had a guy once who we were having a retreat together, and he came up to me and he said, we had been chatting all week about like various scholastic points about the Trinity. And he's just like, Nick, I want to learn scholasticism. Where do I go? I'm planning on going to like the diocesan seminary in Houston. Is that a good place? I said, oh, brother, you're so naive. You're not going to learn scholasticism.
Well, a lot of guys
there.
go into it thinking they'll make it through unscathed, and you
Exactly.
very rarely do, you know?
Exactly. Well, it's like I talk to a lot of guys from the diocesan seminary, and I'll say, "Do you feel like you're getting properly equipped?" And they will tell me, "Well, we read a lot of books outside of seminary." And I say, "Well, okay, let me give you a natural analogy, if you will. Let's say you were to go into a hospital, right, and you're needing to see the doctor, and then you find out the doctor says, well, okay, they didn't actually teach us a whole lot about medicine or operation, but I did
read
read a
some
few
books.
books outside of class and I watched some YouTube videos about it. So we good now? How much more so with the spiritual life? Like if you're being
Yeah.
malformed, like that's why I've talked about with confession, you know, you go in with these massive sins and they're like, okay, you know, pray one Hail Mary, you're good to go. It's like walking in with cancer and being like, okay, well, here's some cough
Tylenol.
drops. Hope you feel better.
Yeah. Here's a Tylenol. And Steven, I got news for you, brother. I'm ashamed of even having a beard because I'm Latin. I do this because my wife tends to like it, but I think all of us should have shaved faces. This is
Who are you? Who do you think you are? That you're just too good for Jesus.
as Latins, we should all be clean shaven. All right. Let me see where this goes. So politically, the trend is similar, with almost all priests ordained in 2020 or later describing themselves as moderate or conservative. That represents a sharp contrast with priests in this. I think we've seen a similar article to this.
Yeah, it was that one on the AP article like a month ago where it said it was talking about just the church in general, right? But it
Yeah.
was saying everything's kind of moving that way.
Which is interesting because this is from July 10th, 2024. I didn't read it before we came on. I thought maybe there would be, but this seems like it's just that same AP article.
Yeah, just focusing on the seminaries. I think it would be interesting again to see. I pray that it's more rosy in the end. I truly do pray that it's more rosy.
Well, do you think we should do the SSPX story now?
It would kind of naturally lead
fit,
in.
right? Like it would
Yeah.
kind of fit here. All right, let's do that. Let's do.
Do we need a funny video in between though?
Maybe we'll do funny video segments in a little bit. Let me just see.
Just put on reason and theology while we're finding it. It'll cover it. No, Rob's like, I draw the line.
Where is the SSPX article?
Yeah, where is that article?
I sent it in the link, so it's in the chat.
Oh yeah, wait, no, did you?
It's in.
You definitely did. I know it's in here.
Yeah, let's see here.
Oh, here it is. I think.
Okay, I was like, I can scroll back up and then like.
No, this is the.
I found it. It's
Okay,
literally
got
just Nick says SSPX article.
Yeah, it has no like.
Oh, here we go. Okay, yeah, this doesn't have like a title. It's like Catholic. Okay.
Yeah, you'll have to do the translation.
Did you just basically say it doesn't actually have a title because it's just in German?
Wait, Nick, did you not get me the English version?
No, that is the only version. That's the thing. So
here, Anthony, I can put it on screen.
Yeah, I was about to say. So Rob will have to put it on the screen, and they'll have to do the auto translation. You can do that, so you can't do it on a phone. Though.
Oh, there's an auto translator.
Yeah.
Yes, welcome to the 21st century. My
Google
friend.
Chrome has had auto translate for like 20 years.
But it's not not on my iPhone though.
Yeah, not on the iPhone.
Oh, I got you. Okay. So, according to an expert, the Traditionalist Pious Brotherhood, which I guess is the SSPX,
good job, Google Translate.
Yeah, right. The Pious Brotherhood and similarly minded groups could gain influence in the Catholic Church if the more liberal or left-leaning Catholics leave the church. Then the relative space for these traditionalists will increase, said author, political scientist, and cultural anthropologist
Believe it or not, you do not have to be a political scientist and cultural anthropologist to realize that.
All right, go down. The Pious Brotherhood is tightly organized and has the long-term goal of reconquering the Catholic Church. This is Nick's
Amen.
I wonder what the German word that they translated to that is. I wonder if that's just a bad translation or if they're really that based.
Well, no, because this is the German Bishops Conference website, so they're freaking out. They're trying to use like hyperbolic language to freak people out.
Okay, so organizing has the long-term goal of so the Society of St. Pius X, this is what they're claiming. They're saying the SSPX has a long-term goal of reconquering the Catholic Church. It is deliberately trying to gain a foothold within the hierarchy and clergy of the Catholic Church, says Schmittinger. The idea behind this is that at some point, the Christians who are lax from the SSPX's point of view, the liberals and leftists, will all be crushed out of the church.
Amen.
I mean, this is our position, isn't it?
And then, crushed out of the church. 400,000 left willingly last year. Like, we're not crushing them out of the church.
And then the SSPX can take over the storm-ready bunch. Since the liberal and progressive part of the Catholic Church is shrinking, this is by no means unrealistic. However, he cannot currently imagine a reintegration of the SSPX into the current Catholic Church.
I like how all the Pope splainers and normies are like, you're only 1% of the church, and the liberals are like, holy crap, they're taking over.
but we are taking over, dude.
Yes.
Listen, we talk about this all the time. Like, first off, we're more than 2%.
It's 20% of mass going Catholics.
Yeah,
that's a big number, right? So, and the thing is, you have to just look at what they're doing. They are terrified because they see their numbers, their adherents don't care anymore. Their adherents are on the cliff's edge of death. Like, their generation drops off, and you're going to see right now we're 20%. We're poised to be 50% in 10 years, though, because so many of that generation are just going to die.
Plus, we have so many more kids.
And we didn't take the vax.
Exactly.
Bring that article back out. Let's finish it.
I love the second part. It's so
for
funny.
Children and young people. At the moment, the expert sees this SSPX primarily as a danger to children and young people who grow up in their families, because they are trying to keep these young people away from society and other Catholic structures in order to build a parallel society.
Yeah. Duh.
Amen.
Yes.
Come on.
That actually, look, I mean, building Catholic community. Stop taking it down because we're going to go right back into it. Building Catholic communities is such an important part of being Catholic now, because what they want is for your kids to just get swallowed up by the world and just diminishes your entire Catholic. I'm sorry, Rob, you could take it down if you're going to show comments. I don't want to cover your face. I heard the actual word seamless garment in a cathedral today from an Indian priest, and I was filled with my pew.
Yeah, man,
I had no idea Indian priests were so liberal.
I had an Indian priest keep me in the confessional for 10 minutes giving me advice, and I did not understand a single word the man said.
Okay, so you know how I'm always complaining about the confession line at that church?
Yeah.
It's that freaking Indian priest. He just yaps and yaps and yaps. I realize it's not, because I was always getting mad at the women, because women are chatty. You know, they get in there, especially the older broads. They get in
what
there.
Anthony really means is that women are gorgeous creatures and they just need to improve a bit as Anthony's spokesperson.
Wait.
They're a little chatty, the girls. You know,
sorry, that's my job. Oh, wait, hold on.
I will be the Michael Lofton, but for Anthony. I'll explain everything he says away.
But I would get mad if an older lady would go in there and I can do Indian accent better than Chinese.
Yes, let's
I'm not
go.
good at Indian accent. Indian accent is not too difficult.
Who are you? Who do you think you are?
But I realized that it was this Indian priest that would just chat away with anyone that went in there, and it's like, you got 30 people out here. You guys only offer confession for an hour. It's an hour here, and you're going to take up 15 minutes with each person. How's everybody going to get in there? It's very selfish.
So I got to go to confession before Mass on Sunday, before the Latin Mass, and there's not usually confession before that Mass because there's only one priest. But anyway, so I come back from confession and kneel down, And Hope looks at me. She's like, "Are you everything okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, but I feel like I must have murdered someone. I got 10 Our Fathers and 10 Hail Marys." You know, like usually it's a 3 Hail Marys.
I
Like,
thought
did
you
I
were gonna
commit
say
genocide.
Yeah, but I couldn't understand what my penance was, so I don't know what to do.
No, this was not the Indian priest.
Oh.
Yeah, no, it's I find that confessions, it's just such an interesting balance because on the one hand, like you want to be helpful to get everyone in and out, but on the other hand, like confession is such a delicate thing because it's not just about giving you a quick bit of advice, absolution, here's your penance. Like it is, we're all ideally, right? 4 years of moral theology just come crashing down on the mind of the priest, and he's supposed to give you no judgment. That's the thing. Like priests nowadays, they're not trained in classic moral theology. So you could literally go in there and be like, yeah, bro, I've literally just been cheating on my wife for forever. And they'll be like, well, you need to love her more, man. I'm like, what? Well, duh. That's a given.
Okay, so while we're talking on this, maybe there are new people watching the show. What is the appropriate thing to do when you go into confession? Because most parishes do only offer an hour, right? So you really should just be going
so
in.
the NSA doesn't hear your sins.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
That's actually accurate. Like you shouldn't be bringing your phone into the confessional, or at least putting it in an airplane mode at minimum. But you should have the number of times you committed it, and just kind of go in and list it off kind of really quickly. Like when you're going for a Saturday confession, it shouldn't be a therapy session. If you do need spiritual direction, you should set up an appointment.
Yeah.
Make an appointment with the priest, because it's one of those things where you're supposed to kind of just go in, list the type of sin, the number of times you've done it, and just kind of run through them, get through your mortal sins first, and maybe some of the venial sins you're struggling with. But it should not be a 20-minute confession when you have that 1 hour in between 3 and 4 o'clock or something.
Yeah. So the classic steps are: first, you pray to the Holy Ghost, ask him to illuminate your conscience, examine your conscience according to the 10 commandments and the 7 deadly sins. And then, yes, you go into the confessional. Contrition is the most important part of confession, because without contrition, whether imperfect or perfect, absolution is invalid. And contrition is just defined as you're sorry for these sins because they've offended God, right? That's all that it is. It could be motivated because you're also afraid of hell. It could be perfectly motivated because you love Christ, etc. So you recite your sins. Now, here's the important thing. You want to give, the type of sins that you did, the numbers particularly, right? And if you don't know the numbers, I've gotten scolded for the numbers too. One of the first times I ever went to confession, I had a priest, and this was before I was super trad, who said, "Why are you telling me the numbers?" And I said, "Because that's what the Council of Trent says." He's like, "Well, that's some good advice, but not everyone can do this, etc. And let's just move on." I've had horror stories. But yeah, you go in there, recite the number of times, but sometimes you do want to give a little bit of background and context. And the only reason I say that is just because, as an example, if you were to go in there and just say like, I had impure thoughts, right? A priest might just say, well, a good priest, well, what do you mean by impure thoughts? Well, I meant that like I had these temptations come up to mind, but I prayed immediately and, they went away. Well, that's not a sin,
Yeah.
It's taking like deliberate delight in impure thoughts.
Let me ask you this. Man, I always reveal too much on this show. Have you ever
someone?
Have you ever found yourself sugarcoating your sins to a priest, like
rationalizing it, or
almost like just not justifying it, but like kind of like giving yourself a little bit of an excuse of why you did, like, look, I haven't done this in so long. I had a,
Oh, I see what you're saying. I see. For me, no, because I have a more scrupulous conscience. So
Yeah.
I have to resist like beating myself up too much. And so, but yes, I have heard this in different moral manuals. They'll say you can sugarcoat things by like veiling the language.
Mhm.
So whereas an example, like instead of saying like, I, took delight in impure thoughts, you could just be like, I had some bad thoughts or something like that. Well, what does that mean? Like it's veiling.
No,
it.
I even mean, okay,
etc.
let's say you have a slip up with something bad that you
Mhm.
haven't done in a long time. It's like you go in and you're like, it's been a really long time since I did this. This is the first time. Like kind of just like prefacing it with, instead of just going in and saying,
Oh yeah.
I am a sinful filth bag. Like I think when you go into that confessional, you should really try to let the priest disappear. Like
Yeah,
the
no,
priest needs to completely disappear, and you really need to go in and pour your heart out to Christ when you're in
I
there.
have that mental image when I go into the confessional of Christ sitting on the other side. That's kind of what I try to keep in my head. But yeah, no, I've never done that. I was taught by a traditional priest that when you go in, you state your state in life. So as an example, like when I go into confession, I'll say, "Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. It has been X amount of time since my last confession. I am a single layman in my mid-20s, and I accuse myself of the following sins." And then I'll go through the 10 Commandments. And then whenever I'm done, I'll say, "And for these sins and for all the sins which I cannot remember, particularly against these virtues, I accuse myself, confess, and ask absolution and penance of you, my spiritual father." That's how I do confession.
Can you
But
send
that's how
that
I
to
was taught.
me? Yeah, can you send that to me? I want you to send that to me. Maybe we could put that in the show notes because that's actually really amazing. Let me ask you this. What about going to a different priest? Because I do have a
I do
regular
that.
confessor, but there's sometimes where I'm just like, I don't want to tell my regular confessor this one, you know, and
I've done that.
and you
Yeah,
go
that
to
can-
another parish because you want to get one out that you're just
Especially
Yeah.
as like a high schooler when, you know, the priest has been my confessor since I was, you know,
yeah.
7. I definitely did that in like high school.
Yeah, we don't have that many confession times around here. And so when I was first Catholic, I would go just to kind of all the random priests that were around me. But then I found out more or less here are the priests that I need to avoid because like seriously, they would just be telling things like, yeah, those aren't really sins, or why are you numbering them, or things along that nature, just really bad moral theology. Or I think I've told this story before, but I had a friend who, or excuse me, different story. I went into the confessional and I went through a list of sins. The priest then asked me, "Well, why do you think those are a sin?" At first, I thought he was asking me like a reflective question, you know. And I said, "Oh, you know, it violates these commandments, etc." And he says, "No, no, no. I mean, like, do you really like consider them sinful? Like, I mean, like, I don't really understand why you would consider them sinful." So I bust out St. Alphonsus Liguori and I say, "Well, okay, the paucity of matter involved is sinful. Here's how it is." I start quoting St. Thomas, etc., etc. Then he says, "Well, that is one view you could take. But if you want a less harsh view, read this work." And so he gives me this card with this book title written on the back of it. The next day I go home, I look at the book title. It's a Protestant psychologist giving advice about like not being neurotic about sins, etc.
Wait, what was it? Brandon Manning or something?
Oh, I
It's like
forget. It was like 3
what
years
book is
ago.
that? My mom
was-
gave me that book. What is that book by Brandon Manning? Brendan
Wait,
Manning.
I'll Google it.
It's
was
it's not the
wild.
prodigal son. It's the
Brennan Manning.
Brendan Manning. Maybe what's that famous book?
I've not heard of this one, Brandon.
Somebody in the chat has to know it. Brendan Manning. It's not the prodigal son. It's
There's like the boy who cried Abba.
it's definitely that author.
Yeah.
Read some of those titles. You go
So Gentle Revolutionaries.
into it? What is it?
Gentle Revolutionaries, Souvenirs of Solitude, Stranger to Self-Hatred, Parable of William Wan, Prophets and Lovers, Lion and Lamb, The Signature of Jesus, Abba's Child.
I think it's Abba's Child.
So there's Abba's Child, The Cry of the Heart for Intimate Belonging, and then there's The Boy Who Cried Abba, A Parable of Trust and Acceptance. There's Ruthless Trust, The Ragamuffin's Path to
Ragamuffin
God.
Gospel. Ragamuffin Gospel.
Yep.
That's what it is.
Okay, yeah.
I've
The
heard of
Ragamuffin Gospel. There we go. Somebody just put it in there. The Ragamuffin Gospel. Okay. So that's funny because he's Protestant. He was Protestant. He just became
No,
Catholic.
you know what? He's a laicized priest.
Levi? We had
What?
Levi on the show.
Yeah, we
Levi
have.
was a meth addict. What are you talking about?
What?
Oh, Brendan Manning.
Oh my gosh.
I'm so confused. I'm so confused. Yeah, he's a laicized priest. Listen, so the book opens up. It starts off. It's like you've out Luthered Luther. How can you? And the whole book is just about like Jesus forgives everything, even the Pharisee. Like, don't worry. It's basically it's like a Dare We Hope on steroids, dude. It's so much. My
It's
mom
rough.
gave that to me years ago. I remember going back to I'm like, throw this book out. You're not reading this ever again. You're not. This stuff has to go.
Well, I've told you guys the 2 stories. Like, I've had to now 3 times correct different priests in the confessional to give me the right form of absolution. So they've just made up the form. They'll say something like, "All right, Christ forgives you. Go in peace." They'll just say something like that, and I'm like, "Yo, Father, that's not how it is." So I go to the same confessor now. I go to the same confessor every time because 1, it's a good habit, but then 2, he also says the TLM and knows
Yeah.
he always says the form right, etc. But I've also had this. Check this out. Where priests will sometimes say in the confessional, tell me if you had this, where they'll say, "Well, Christ has already forgiven you of your sins," before the form of
I'll be honest.
absolution. I've had that multiple times.
I've only had 1 or 2 like rough confession experience. Most of my confession experiences have been very solid, and even the Novus Ordo priests I've gone to. I mean, they're not rigorous like you're saying, but I've only once had where I remember my wife went in before me and she came out and she was horrified because the priest was basically like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like told her what she did wasn't sinful. And I went to a different line. I was like, I'm not dealing with that. And one time it was just a very awkward face-to-face confession years ago. And it was almost like awkward. Like he was like, I don't know. I got weird vibes from the guy. It was just, but it wasn't.
Well, yeah, because he's sitting there thinking, "Oh my gosh, someone from the mafia is about to tell me all the guys he just killed."
One of the Sopranos shows up. "Yo, Father, I need a confession."
Hey, Father, is it okay if I killed this guy or what? What do I got to do? 3 Hail Marys? I think I killed the guy.
Well, there's that movie. This is actually a good point. There's that movie. What is it called? A Brooklyn Story, Anthony? What's that story?
Bronx Tale?
The Bronx Tale, where there's that scene where the kid goes in and he's witnessed a murder and he like lightly throws it out to the priest. And then the priest is like, "All right, pray 5 Hail Marys, you're good to go." And the kid walks out of confession saying, "This is what I love about Catholicism. You just go in, everything's fine."
There's an interview with like an old mob guy, and he's like, they're interviewing him, and he's like, "Of course I'm Catholic." He's like, "I go in, I go tell the priest what I did. I get to hit the restart button. It's like, you just wipe the slate clean. What's the big deal, But I mean, you have to be cautious of presumption, right? Like you really do have to be cautious of presumption. I know early on in my journey, I remember, and especially guys who were struggling with internet stuff. I know, like before I had that thing under control, I remember like early on, you go and you're using the confessional like a revolving door. And I remember it would be like, if I slipped up once, it'd be like, well, I already slipped up. And then you just, until you go to confession next, like it's like, all right, I'm already in mortal sin. And you just continue on with it. You should really never have that attitude. It's like, okay, you committed one, but first off, get the confession immediately. Second off, don't just have that attitude where it's like, well, now I could just sin and God will forgive me when I find out. That's presumption. You can't have presumption. It's one thing to get.
Which is a mortal sin in and of itself. So, I mean, like, that's just what's so rough. Like, with sins, particularly, St. Alphonsus talks about how, particularly when it comes to sins against the 6th and 9th commandment, that sins multiply and multiply. So, I'm not trying to make people scrupulous, right? But I'm saying this portion just to give you an idea of, like, what you should do. If you see impurity, impure thoughts take place, mortal sin. If you put yourself in that occasion, already, mortal sin. If you commit a mortal sin by engaging in those said acts, right? Mortal sin. But then if you, as you said, Anthony, like are just like, well, who cares? I'll just wait till I'll go to confession later. That's not only more mortal sins, but also you're creating 2 habits in the soul, a habit of presumption and a habit of impurity that are going to have to be corrected in this life or in purgatory, et cetera, et cetera. And so they need to be corrected. And so that's why if I was a confessor, right, which I'm not, but if I was a confessor, the old school confessors would say, okay, if you have a habit of this, before I can absolve you, you need to have a sincere amendment of life, which is put internet filters on your computer, have accountability, et cetera, and then come back and I will absolve you. Because if not, I'm going to be damning myself by giving absolution to people who aren't truly sorry for them. And that's why St. Alphonsus says, if you go more, if it's less than like 10 days and you're already back in the confessional for the same sin, it's like a guy receiving medicine and vomiting it up. Confession is like a medicine that the guy
Yeah.
can't stomach.
We've talked about this before, but let Nick give a little treatise on this.
Thoughts on priests refusing? So priests need to refuse absolution in certain contexts. Those contexts being if what are known as repetitive sinners, which are sinners who, again, use the confessional kind of as a revolving door, but there's not actually any type of sincere amendment of life. They need to withhold that. The reason for that is two. One, you're not actually, it's doing sacrilege to the sacrament because you're not actually truly sorry. You're just going about your whims, if you will. But then two, for the priest is supposed to give a penance that, if you will, matches the said sin. And if he doesn't, right, the priest is going to have to make that up for himself. And so the priest, therefore, has to, at times, withhold it for the good of the sinner and for the good of himself. Unfortunately, it's very rare outside of a traditional setting that you're going to find this. And this is why, again, I'm not trying to, be a Pope basher here, but like Pope Francis has multiple times talked about how you should never refuse absolution and that he's never refused absolution. That flies in the face of all classic moral theology. It's very, very troublesome.
No, okay, so somebody said they have to make a general confession just hearing this. So okay, so now I had something pop in my head before my last confession of something I did when I was a teenager. Like I've made general confessions where you try to like recall all the sins that you remember throughout your life. Then something happened a couple months ago where it popped in my head, this memory that I had of there was a kid standing in front of a staircase. And me and the kid didn't like each other. And I went and I pushed him down a flight of stairs with his back to me. Like I threw a kid down a flight of stairs with his back to me. And it like the weight of that sin just like crushed me. It was very strange. It just kind of like popped in my head. And I was like, holy God, I was so desensitized. Like that I could do, like I could have killed this kid. And I just I thanked God that kid didn't break his neck when I threw him down. Because you're talking about a school staircase. Like, it wasn't 100 steps or anything, but those concrete staircases, they're like marble staircases. I threw this kid down a flight of stairs, and thank God he didn't get hurt. But just when that popped in my head, I just remember like this weight on my soul. Now, when we go to confession, like you are always absolved
Remind me
of
not to
all
stand
your
on
sins.
stairs around you.
Yeah, right. But you have. Like, how does that, if that sin never popped in my head, how does that get handled? Like, is that something you just deal with in purgatory or?
So if it literally did not come back to your mind, right, that would be something that you would deal with in purgatory. If it was to come to your mind, like it has in this case, right, what the moral rule is this: if it's a venial sin, right, general contrition for it, as well as another thing saying your Father, blessing oneself with holy water with contrition, those will forgive it.
I'm sorry, we're laughing while you're talking, Nick.
It's okay. No worries. But so those sacramentals will forgive venial sins, but for mortal sins, right, the rule is that you go back to confession. So first and foremost, don't be scrupulous, but go back to confession and say, Father, I remember back years ago, so-and-so, this event took place, or I committed this sin, etc. And I would always preface this to the confessor. This is something that came back to my mind. I was not withholding it from a last confession, etc. Because it's important, right, for the priest and the confessor to know that you're not trying to commit sacrilege again by hiding something. So that's what I would do, if that makes sense.
I mean, okay. Well, first off, for anybody listening, Kennedy's on next Tuesday with us.
Hey, let's go.
Were you going to tell me?
I put it in the calendar. You didn't see it?
No, I didn't actually.
Yeah, Kennedy's on with us Tuesday, so that's cool. That Nick will be here. Hopefully you got nothing going on, Nick. You guys can try to bring us into your SSPX cult.
Kennedy, we promise no co-sleeping debates right before you come on.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I think we should brew one up just for old times' sake. It actually might be fun.
I still feel bad about that.
That was a glorious night.
And then something else I saw. Hang on. Oh, yeah. So I'm gonna refer a story and pretend it was me, but It wasn't me. I was talking to somebody about this very topic of like sugarcoating your sins, and they told me, they were like, so I'm having a hard time with my in-laws. This is not me, not my in-laws. So if anybody sees this, I'm not telling them this isn't me. He goes, yeah, I go into the confessional and I told the priest, I'm like, my in-laws are very difficult and I'm having a hard time. And he went to go to confess his sin, but he prefaced it with, my in-laws are very difficult. And
Bro,
the priest stopped him
I
dead in his
told
tracks.
you not to tell this story.
Yeah. The priest stopped him dead in his tracks and he goes, stop it. What are you doing? Like, you're coming in and you're like, he was trying to justify why he was having such a hard time with his in-laws.
Oh, I see.
By prefacing it with, my in-laws are very difficult. And the priest put him right in his place. He goes, are you here to confess their sins or yours?
Yeah, he's correct.
And he was like, Anthony, it struck my soul. And I was like, thank God this priest was paying attention to that, because I've done things like that, not even realizing I'm doing it. And that's kind of what I'm talking about with the sugarcoating it before you go in, and trying to, especially if it's a regular confessor that you're going to, like, you will say little things before you say the sin. And when he told me that story, I remember the next confession I went into, I was just like, I'm a disgusting sinner,
Well, what it is, if you think about it, it's pride, particularly vanity, and wanting to appear still good before the priest.
Yes,
That's just what it is. So the only time that you're allowed to bring like some type of context story into it will be trying to give like the priest an exact accounting of like how much you were willfully involved in it. It can never be telling someone else's sins or trying to mitigate it in some form in your own mind to make you feel better. Because
I think that's what he was doing, mitigating it.
Yeah.
Like, he was going into to confess his own short temper, but basically it was like, but it's their fault.
Yeah, and it doesn't work, because then the question really is, are you sorry that you've offended God with this short temper, or are you trying to like hide it behind a wall of vanity and a wall of here's what other people did? So you're comparing yourself to others as well. So
Dude, I think, man,
that's why the confession and moral theology, man, it is so important. Like, and I'm just a nerd. I read these old books. I see good society priests actually do this whenever I go into the confessional. But it's scary to me, because then I'm like, okay, what about all these priests who are being taught things like, well, just discern with the couple about if you should bless them or if they need to have communion, et cetera, et cetera. I'm like, this stuff is going to hurt people spiritually. Just to put it
and not even things for that serious, like that serious. I told you the last time I went in, I was talking about my internet addiction. And the priest is like, well, have you heard about the Hallowed app? I'm like, I'm telling you, I'm addicted to the internet. You suggest another app? I'm like, are you kidding?
You should have been like, yeah, the abortion supporting Liam Neeson told me
I don't
all
want to get
about
into
it,
that with
Father.
him, but I'm like, Father, it's my issue isn't that I'm using the internet for sinful things. I mean, I'd probably get a little cheeky. Probably get a little,
Dude,
I get a little brash on Twitter, but like, I'm not looking at bad things. I'm like, for the most part, I'm driving, listening to things, and I do tend to I'll listen to a theology talk, or I'll listen, I'm trying to gain knowledge. My problem is I can't sit in freaking silence a lot of times. Like, a lot of times I can't turn my brain off to just sit with God, and he suggests the Hallowed app to me. I'm like, I had to like correct him in what his suggestion to me was. But I think a lot of priests are just trying to make you feel good when you leave the confessional.
I actually have a video of you trying to sit in silence.
Dang, Rob, dang. Well, to your point, Anthony, well, see, the issue is, you're right. Like, a lot of them are, and they're good, genuine men. Like, a lot of them genuinely want people to not feel neurotic. But the issue is that you want a priest that can also help you go forward in the spiritual life. And so, like, if I was in your situation and I was the priest, I would have said, okay, it sounds like even if you're not saying something sinful, you at least have a disordered attachment to the internet. So how can we maybe give you a penance or a practical solution to remove that? So, it could be, okay,
don't
by
use
this time,
the internet between this time and this time, and I want you to sit
Exactly.
and like something like that is what the route he should have taken.
Exactly. Something like that would have been a good idea, as opposed to just use the internet in a different way.
So I'm not going to deactivate it, but the thing is,
just got monetized.
Well, that's one thing, but I don't use it at home when my family's around. Like that's my one rule. If I'm with my wife and kids, I don't use it. Oh,
Dang,
look, a bit of a bunch of broken dishwashers in the forest.
Enoch.
Who are you? Who do you think you are?
That's so funny, dude.
Somebody posted something the other day about the wife was like, the dishwasher's broken. And the husband goes, no, you're not. You're right here. What are you talking about?
Yeah. That's a good one. Oh man.
Well, the no way be for a year. I don't honestly. This look. This conversation, right? When would I have this conversation in my normal life? I mean, I'm at work with construction workers, and I think you start off with a news story, and then these shows always kind of delve into things like this. Like we start off with something, and it leads into something a little bit deeper.
We were talking about the Pious Brotherhood.
Yeah, the Pious Brotherhood.
I'm definitely calling them that forever, by the way.
And it leads into a conversation on something on theology, something, I kind of spill my guts over on this stupid show once in a while. I reveal a little bit too much, and we have some laughs, and then we try to beg you guys to come over to locals.
And then your wife finds it, 4 months later, and you get in trouble then.
Well, the last one was my sister finding it. Dating one. And we were talking about dating, and I was jokingly talking about not wanting like an informed woman, My sister's like, don't talk about your wife like that. But I wasn't talking about my wife. I was
she subscribed to locals right after, so
that's funny.
Yeah, you always have to be careful. Like my mom watches the show on occasion. All right, so what do you guys want to do? We're at the hour. Shoot over to locals. You want to stay on here a little bit longer? Let's do some funny videos before we go to locals.
Okay, let me pull one up.
We have let's see.
Here we go.
Oh yes.
Yeah, did you do this one yet?
No.
Come here. Don't buck. Over there. Wow. Come here. Don't buck. Stop.
In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti.
The funny part about the original is you actually do hear the bell.
And then you hear some guy just cackling in the background.
This girl, she goes and steals, shoplifts, and then she goes to hide in the store, and she just hides like in plain sight. Like she's not actually hiding; she's just standing in plain sight.
She thought it was nope. Never mind. Continue.
Father Isaac would be good for a good, and even to discuss Saint Alphonsus, the theology of Saint Alphonsus would be good.
It's so needed. It's so needed.
And then that original video is actually hilarious.
Well, I think what's interesting about that video is that's just one of 100+ videos you could find in 5 minutes about all the crime over the last 4 years, especially. I mean, it's just crime has gone off the wall. It's wild. Should we
do airplane DEI story?
We could do that.
Yeah. Let's do that.
This is in New York. Watch this.
Liners appear to be on a collision course Monday morning, caught on a North Syracuse, New York police dash cam. This officer even pointing to the sky. Air traffic control cleared American Airlines Flight 5511 from Washington Reagan with 79 people on board to land at the Syracuse airport, and then appears to clear a Delta flight for takeoff from the same runway.
542135, runway 28, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, runway 28, that's 5421.
Wait, who's cleared to take off on 28?
The American pilots sounded the alarm.
He's like, wait a minute, what?
Okay, now back up to those voices again.
Yeah.
Back up to those voices. Now listen carefully to those voices.
542135, runway 28, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, runway 28, that's 5421.
Wait, who's cleared to take off on 28?
The American pilots sounded the alarm.
Blue Street 5511, Syracuse Tower, go around. Going around, Blue Street 5511.
As that American flight climbed to about 1,825
So if you really listen to what's going on there, I mean, if you went back 25 years, that air traffic control tower was all men. That's exactly what happened. There was all men in that air traffic control tower. There's been a few of these incidents where women, like I heard there was one, man, I should have looked these up, where the women are like just whoa. Like I heard there was one. Whoa, that's my voice. That's weird. Where they let women become air traffic controllers and they're just directing the planes into each other. It's pretty scary.
Well, it was, I want to say it was last year, the year before, the FAA was caught, like they got 700 applications or something, and they threw out all the ones from white men.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
That's what I mean. So wait. Oh, this is it. This is it. You got to hear this. Stupid commercial.
We're doing the old phone trick again?
Yeah, we're gonna have to, because I don't want to wait till I send it to you and stuff.
The generations come to the stream and
I
show
do miss
themselves.
Listen.
Good plan on the
This is awesome, Anthony. So great.
You guys can't hear it?
No,
not really.
Not at all.
Okay, so I'm gonna send you this video and just play it.
Okay.
Because it has the subtitles on it.
Oh, I Googled it. Yeah.
Yeah, this one is incredible, man. Like the girl is Googling against the pilot. The pilot's like, I've been flying for 30 years. Are you kidding me?
I wrote the Wikipedia article, woman.
It's actually unbelievable.
Cherokee 65 Charlie, there's traffic on the parallel. The traffic you're following inside Highway 380 at Cherokee on final for 18 left.
All right, we're looking for that traffic to follow for 65 Charlie. And if we could plan on the next one, possible, we could get a short approach in. We'd appreciate it.
November 7, Papa Echo, 18 right, third option.
Clear for the option, 18 right, that's topic.
Cherokee 65 Charlie, heavy request. Your traffic's out of half mile final now.
You've got him inside, 65 Charlie.
Cherokee 65 Charlie, give him room. He's a full stop, 18 left, third option.
18 left, third option, we'll give him room, 65 Charlie.
November 7, Papa Echo, runway 18 right, clear to land, or cleared option.
Sam, we're going to go full stop, but we'll still be happy to take 18 right for some topic.
November 7, Papa Echo, did you want to land on the right or you want to move over to the left?
Longer than I thought.
I'm going over to the left if you got room for it, but either way is fine.
No, I do. Just continue right downwind, change your runway to 18 left, November 7, Papa Echo. I'll call your base.
0, right traffic, 18 left, and you'll call our base up topic.
Cherokee 65 Charlie, short approach approved, runway 18 left, clear, touch and go.
All right, short approach approved, clear touch and go, 18 left, thanks, 65 Charlie.
November 7, Papa Echo, do you know where Highway 380 is?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I'll call your base.
This is what happens when we don't watch
coming up
videos
on
beforehand.
Yeah, I
Okay,
know
so this is
you
what
are,
happens.
but you're going a little
Okay.
fast for this Cherokee. I just want to make sure you give them room to get down, that's all.
Could you do that, then call back in?
So 2 Bravo Tango right traffic, change your runway to 18 right.
Change your runway to 18 right, 2 Bravo Tango.
November 7, Papa Echo, turn your base.
Turn to base, call back in.
That's a 2 Bravo Tango, or November 6, 5 Charlie. You should have turned your base before you hit the approach end of the runway. You're outside the airport traffic area.
We're on about a quarter-mile final, ma'am. Base.
Yeah, no, you should be inside the airport. You should have turned your base up even the numbers.
We can't do that and land on the 1,000-footers.
Well, that's what a short approach is.
I'm sorry, I guess I should, we need to come up with something different because in order to complete a commercial check ride, we've got to do what's called a power off 180.
Well, then,
Pull the power a beam where you want to touch down and have to land on that point and no more than 200 beyond it.
that's fine, but don't ask for a short approach if you're going to do a power off 180. That's my point.
Well, okay, I will remember that from now on, no problem.
Yeah, when you ask for a short approach, I expect you to turn your base to beam the numbers. November 2 Bravo Tango, runway 18 right, third option.
18 right, clear to option, 2 Bravo Tango.
November 7 Papa Echo, runway 18 left, clear to land.
Thank you, 7 Papa Echo, clear to 18 left. All right, this one will be a full stop for 65 Charlie, and maybe we need to talk about that some more because you're the first controller in 15 years that's ever said that.
Well, I'm just, if you ask for a short approach is when you turn your base and beam the numbers. If I know you're a student asking for a short approach, I know you're out there practicing and you probably will extend. But if you're doing something other than a short approach, don't ask for a short approach.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I will definitely look up the definition of short approach because I've never seen where it says you turn base a beam of numbers because I don't see how you could possibly do that.
Well, I Googled it, actually. I Googled short approach, and it said to turn your base a beam or before the numbers, and you will land probably touchdown around midfield.
I Googled it.
Okay, well, then I apologize for requesting the wrong thing because everywhere else, short approach means power off 180, but that's definitely not what it means here.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, I don't know. Maybe it's because I've worked at different airports. I don't know. But just ask for what you need so I know what you want to do so I can accommodate.
I will most definitely do that. It's just most controllers don't know what a power off 180 is.
November 7, Papa Echo, left when able.
That's gonna be it, right?
No,
Oh,
well, she actually, she goes into it and she's like, when you get in, can we talk? Like,
Yeah,
she knows,
clear
like,
12395.
Okay, there's a minute left.
Turkey 65 Charlie, number 2.
yeah, all right. I mean, but just to see, like, you're letting these women in, they don't even know the time. I Googled it.
I
On
wish
a
we could
live
get,
approach.
I wish we could get Raphael on the show because he is an air traffic controller.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even.
But I think he listens to the podcast more often.
The crazy thing is, listen, I'm not. Man, this is
teaches
this
CCD.
Is,
Guaranteed.
this is
So
this
true.
is a touchy subject to talk about, but last time I flew, I went to Miami and I left out of New York airport.
Oh, here we go.
And I did not see a single white person.
Who are you? Who do you think you are?
Now, listen, I don't care if the person is the most qualified for the job, but when you walk in an airport and you don't see, I'm talking at every food vendor, I'm talking on the airplane, every single pilot, every single flight attendant, everything. It was like one of those commercials where it's like, we're a complete LGBT flight. We're an all black flight. And you get on that plane and you're like, I looked in the cockpit and I'm like, all right, at least they're men, but they're not white dudes.
I'm so excited to fly in October. Can't wait.
It's just, I think you're okay in Minnesota. Like,
Where are you going again, Rob?
St. Augustine.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Florida? Yeah, but leaving Florida, you're done. I'm just telling you. Because when we left Miami, it was worse than New York, man.
That's why you have to have a good confessor. You have to have a good confessor.
I was looking for a priest. I'm not lying. I was looking around the airport like, anybody wearing a Roman collar here? What's going on? Oh, Spirit is like a death wish, man. You're crazy.
No.
Going on Spirit.
My dad has been a commercial airline pilot for, I think it's like 35, 38, something like that years. And he talks about it all the time that it's just so much of it now, like all the young guys who are flying and a lot of girls too. It's all just automated computers and stuff. And his big fear is that people don't know actually just how to manually fly the plane anymore.
Yeah. Well, the thing is,
well, like that was a 380 Max problem.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But what I'll do to mess with him though is every time he comes home, I'll just show him everything that Boeing is being up to within like the last 24 hours. Gets under his skin. It's pretty funny.
The thing that scares me is that they're lowering the test standards to allow other people that normally would. Like, this used to be a white male dominated career. Like, it just was. It was a white male dominated career. It was, you had you just had
Asians too.
Okay, I don't know. I mean, it is, but
Asians are the best pilots. Didn't you watch any movie about World War II?
Just don't put them in a car.
Don't put them in a car. It's a scary time we're getting into, especially like my son's 18 now, and I'm like, you have to either start your own business or I don't know, man. Like, you're never gonna move up the corporate ladder anymore. Like, there's just no opportunity for you. We're in a different time, man. It's just they want a certain kind of person moving up that corporate ladder. I mean, I even look at my job, and it's. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about my job just in case.
Just in case your uncle who now knows about the podcast watches.
Not even my uncle. Like, God forbid. I just don't need any. I don't need to say anything about my job. But I know I'm late. But what time did the conversation derail to racist pilot commentary? About 10 minutes ago.
All Anthony's fault. All Anthony's fault. I mean, the one good thing though is that I have seen within like the last 20 or so months, a good pushback, not just against wokeism, but a lot of DEI programs getting shut down. You started to see
Tractor
this in a lot of
Supply.
colleges, law. What did you say, Rob?
Tractor Supply.
Tractor
Oh yeah, exactly. So it's like there is a pushback, which is good. Because again, I think that like hiring based off of your melanin content's stupid. I'm like,
That's
all
just
right.
because you don't have enough, Nick.
It's so true, dude. So true.
Yeah, the funny thing is somebody said, but yeah, but Anthony's Italian, Italians are black. But my kids are the whitest kids you'll ever see in your life.
Anthony, you are black. I literally almost yesterday threw out your advertisement on your Italy trip, and I was going to be like, return to Africa with Anthony Abate.
But my kids are blonde hair, blue eye. My kids look like the freaking the Ubermen, like
The Uberman children.
Like they went to camp with Benedict the 16th.
Yeah, my kids look like they went to the Hitler youth program. My kids would have been held up, with their blonde hair and blue eyes and white skin. So I don't know what those kids are gonna do. All right, we're gonna jump over to locals. Oh man.
We haven't been on locals. Uh-oh.
You know what? We'll do this DEI conversation over there. At least you don't have to worry so much.
What do you mean we just had the DEI?
Oh, I got a lot more to say.
Oh no.
All right, we're gonna go over to locals. We're gonna hang for another 45 minutes or so. We will see you guys over there. Locals, Italy. If anybody wants to go to Italy, we're doing Advent in Italy. Those tickets will sell out, and also the Catholic Palooza. Use code
he means himself.
Advent in Africa. Let's go, bro.
Don't confuse the people, Nick. Oh, we could do. That's what we're doing. We're doing the bear story over there because we could be a little funny with the bear story over there.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah,
it's.
I know we said no more snuff content, but
yeah, this one's rough. Like this chick chose the bear and didn't turn out well for her.
Well, what's
funny
is it's really more because her boyfriend was a.
So Jacob, we do the second half of the show over on locals. We kindly ask that people chip in $5, and we give you guys. If you enjoy this portion of the show, the other portion is the spicy portion. So we go over to locals and we just riff over there for the second half of the show. So if you're available to come, we would love to have any new people that are willing to support us. It's really the best way to support us. That and our merchandise. Have you accepted Mary as your personal mother and intercessor? Go troll your Protestant friends, especially if you're in the Bible Belt.
We also have the Harambe, or Harambe was the catacomb.
These come in bumper stickers as well.
Yep.
We got a lot of stuff over there. So if you guys want to support the show, it's a great way to help us. We will see you guys over on locals. Rob, take us out.
Give me a second.
I hate when it's not on cue.
People can still hear you right now.
Oh, man.